Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, veterans, and all, and families. I'm your host. My name is John Stacy. They call me jbassers. I've got my superstar co-host right beside me, Mr. Ray Koff, in the great state of either Alabama or Tenabama, or whatever it is.
Down there
And
close to it anyway.
we are we are jbassers Exposed Vet Productions. We've been doing the show for quite a while, and we do a lot of stuff with VA claims and VA appeals and VA this, VA that, court cases and conditions. Today we're going to mix it up a little bit. Ray and I are going to discuss something that every veteran needs to know, especially if you use the VA or if you're a veteran thinking of using the VA. We're going to start off our series called Navigate the VA. But we're going to make a couple of announcements first. Ray's got one he's going to give out. Ray, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. We were talking there before the show there, and you were discussing the situation with ID Me.
Yeah,
Could you give
come
the audience
October
an
the
update on
1st.
what they need to do?
Yeah, come October the 1st, all veterans that are going to use VA.gov needs to change from a couple of the others that they've had in the past that haven't worked very well to ID Me. I had to make that change. Oh, I guess it was a couple of years ago, and
Hmm.
it actually it's a lot better. Plus, ID Me has some other benefits to it. For example, if you go to Disney and you want a discount on your Disney tickets, and you tell them you're a veteran, they ask you to fill out the ID me, and they identify you. And it identifies you as a veteran, and you get your discounts. A lot of motel
Hmm.
reservations are using that now. You order
Hmm.
some of the department stores are using it now to identify veterans in order to give them their discount
Hmm.
for this. So there's a lot of reasons to use ID or to get on it. But the main thing is that if you want to function and operate and maneuver through VA.gov, you're going to need ID.
Hmm. It also works with automobile discounts. You have to
Yes, sir.
register online. You have to register online. Yeah, you got to make an ID Me account, and they have to verify, and you probably send information to them. You know who you are, and it's not hard to do, but I would do it. I mean, I've had mine for years. I've used their services a whole lot, and they do have a lot of good discounts. You know, it's all over the place, but still, it's a lot of good stuff. Thanks for that information, Ray. Everybody needs to heed this and get her done because you can also use that VA.gov, log on, and but the e-benefits, the other one, the DS log on, I guess is going bye bye for saying it, Ray.
Yep. That's going. It's yeah. After
Okay,
October the
the
first,
deer
beginning
system
of
log on.
October the 1st, you can't use it anymore.
All right. Good thing about October 1st, Ray, is it's the new fiscal year. Maybe the VA will get some money and start paying some of these claims. You reckon?
Well, I got an email this morning from the American Legion that said that the backlog of claims has been drastically reduced. And
45%.
Pardon?
They said about 45% that, is that something that's Doug Collins came out with that yesterday too, talking about it. The Secretary of the VA.
Yeah, and
They talk about
what we don't know though is how many of those were actually what percentage of those were denied because they didn't spend enough time researching, or they didn't, or the veteran
well,
himself did not have the proper documentation turned in. So
right.
that's what I.
On the,
Whenever they start dwindling those numbers down quickly, the easiest way to dwindle those numbers
mhm,
down is by denial. It's easier and less work than if they approve. So
mhm.
I would be interested to
Well,
know at the 40%, 45% reduction, what percentage of those were denied and what percentage were granted.
Well, you can really tell that we asked the question ourselves because in the groups we're doing, with the agents group and the VSO groups, they noticed a very strong uptick in the number of appeals. The number of denials that were just totally bogus. So what they're doing is they're overloading the DROs. The appeals process for the supplemental is getting full, and the BVA is probably getting racked pretty hard right now. And so basically, it's robbing Peter to pay Paul. And so they can say 45% all they want, but we ask the question is during the same time period that the appeals have been reduced to 45% of the backlog, what is the actual appeal percentage for the appeals versus the claims backlog? And I'm pretty sure it's going to be even teeter-totter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a ride the teeter-totter. The claims on a teeter-totter, the appeals up in the air, the appeals down the teeter-totter, claims up in the air. So it's just, and if you got a lot of fat claims on the teeter-totter, the appeals ain't getting off until the fat
Well,
claims get off. So,
and another thing you got to remember,
but now,
we're at that point in the year when VA has gone to Congress and
hmm
asked for more money to do stuff. And of course, the first thing Congress says is,
hmm
"Show us what you've done with the money we gave you last year." And so now they can come out and say, "Oh, well, we attacked
hmm
these backlogs and this back stuff, and we've done this and we've done that, and it looks good, but there's no proof of how much it's improved the veterans." Um, and that's a good way
smoke
for
and
them to
mirrors.
balance the budget. Nothing looks worse than to go over the budget. They'd rather be just a little few dollars short than to go over it. And gosh, I can remember when I was in the
hmm
government, they came to me in I think it was August or September and told me to order all the film that I could order for X amount of dollars because they need to spend that X amount of dollars between then and in September when they went to get the final amount for what to run the photo lab that I was in charge of. Come October, I bought almost a year's supply of film there in 1 month. Enough
hmm
to last us a year.
Yeah.
Got everything, film, slides, everything,
hmm
black and white, all of it. Because we had the money in the budget, we had to
hmm
spend it, but they wanted us to spend it before the fiscal year was up.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I remember back in those days in the Navy, the ship was out to sea and it's the last day of September, and they'd get on the 1MC and everything you don't need, throw it overboard. We're getting new stuff and we pull in.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Mhm. All right. Well, let's navigate the VA. Um, let's start off by internally inside the VA. We do it this way. Uh, I'll call myself Billy Bob or Pedro. I'm Billy Bob. Billy Bob's a veteran, and I get out of service, and uh, I don't have any health insurance after I get out. You know, and I had to work a temporary job till I get going. So I need health insurance. I need something to do. So what do? You know you're going to use the VA. So you go in the VA, and what do you do? Well, first thing you do is you make sure you got your DD 214 with you. It shows your discharge because they're going to look at your character of discharge. You take that 214 over to eligibility. In the eligibility office, it's I'm going to go to eligibility. They'll put you in, show you where to go. They'll take you in the room, sit down, talk to you a minute, look at you, and look at your paperwork, see what group you fit in, where you at, what copays you got to pay, and things like that. And they'll enroll you in the system. You can do it online too, but it's better to walk in and do it. Um, but you need to get enrolled in the system first. Last week, I enrolled a Korean veteran. He's 90 years old, and he's had a 10% disability ever since he got out back in the 50s. Actually, it's 20%. I'm sorry. He never used a VA, but um, his life has changed. He was an educator. He was even an athletic director of a major college. and his spouse passed away, and his doctors are passing away because he's 90 years old, and he needs some things to do with his ears and his eyes and his health. So we're enrolling him in the VA, and it's going to save him a lot of money in the long run. So he's happy about it. We had to send his off though because it's some kind of extraordinary circumstance. They told me, and but when we get it back, we'll get him in there and get him signed up. Get him in and get him a care. And he lives way out in the middle of nowhere, so his VA is going to be probably a CBOT clinic or something, and it's pretty cool. But always register and enroll in the VA healthcare. What's the next thing you do, Ray? Do they give you a primary care, or what do they do?
Yeah, they do. And when you enroll, you do have to qualify. Now, your friend had that disability
Yeah.
when he got out of the military, so he automatically qualifies. But there's a couple of different ways you have to
Hmm.
qualify. Now, I do not know, I've never asked, if you came out of Iraq or Desert Storm, are you automatically qualified
You're
for
automatically
insurance?
covered.
Okay. I knew it was for
Yes.
Vietnam and Korea
Yes.
in World War II. So now, okay,
Hmm.
so if you served in country during that conflict, right? And that's what the way it
Hmm.
reads, then you're entitled to VA medical care.
They read the era. Yeah, it reads the era. Yeah, it reads the era. So if you were in during that time, I don't think it matters if you were overseas or not. The issue is back in the Vietnam era and things like that. I guess they did more emphasis on combat and things like that in the country. But as far as the era itself, you can get in and see the VA. A lot of peacetime vets cannot.
A peacetime vet, they have to
In,
qualify
in
from a hardship standpoint. And
hardship or subject disability,
yeah. So you get in, you sit down to the guy and talk to
even at
him
zero.
and give him your DD 214, and he does all those questions and sitting there on his computer and tells you you're qualified. Well, the next thing that what they do
Hmm.
here, I'm going to assume around the country, it immediately assigns you to primary care. In our case,
Yep.
we have a clinic near us here at Arnold Air Force Base, and if there is room there, we got a good doctor there, Dr. McDaniel. She's been there 20 plus years. Um, you can actually, they'll give you her name and a telephone number, and then you call and schedule your appointment. Or you may be assigned
Hmm.
to a doctor at the nearest medical facility to you. Um, Either in our case, it's either here or it's Murfreesboro. So if Dr. McDaniels has
Hmm.
no more availability for new patients, then they're assigned to a primary care in Murfreesboro. And that's usually
Hmm.
Clinic A, B, or C.
Hmm. Well, if you live near the bigger cities, here's how it works. Um, you can go in one of the major hospitals. Um, it's like living in Murfreesboro or Nashville, close to it. Go in the eligibility office, and when you get your primary care doctor assigned to you, then they'll try to make an appointment for an initial visit to your primary care doctor. You really don't have a choice as to who they assign you, but get your foot in the door. And there's special notes you need to know is when they make that appointment with your primary, they usually schedule, I don't know, 30 minutes to 45 minutes because there's a lot of stuff they got to do. It's kind of like initial evaluation, they say, right?
Right.
Make sure you've got everything written down, everything written down that you've got wrong with you, whatever you need help with. Um, your VA primary care doctor is your most important doctor because the VA does nothing unless they got a referral. So if you need to go, uh, of course, eyeglasses and hearing aids are provided to all veterans. So if you need hearing aids or eyeglasses, then your primary care has to write the referral into the clinics one time. And then they take over and do the, subsequent examinations over the years. And you can go, they'll write that up. If you need special care, let's say you got heart issues, they can do a referral to cardiology, they can do referrals to endocrinology, if you got diabetes or anything like that. But your primary care has to drive the truck. and then she could point the antenna at the other place and say, okay, you need to go here. She'll put the referral in, and they'll call, make an appointment from the place that you referred to, which is a good thing. And primary, and a very important doctor, and it's important to get along with them. If they support you, you'll have a good, it'll be good. You had problems getting referrals, Ray?
No, I really didn't, and that's another good point. When you're in there uh, getting signed up, if you're over the age of 75, you need to ask, in my opinion, and you got some medical problems, which I don't know of too many people over 75 that don't. You need to ask for geriatrics. Geriatrics is a
Yeah.
special primary care clinic for aging veterans. And so
Hmm.
if you fit into the, you got to be 75 plus to get in there. So, like if you're 75 and like you said, you got diabetes or you got a heart condition and you know it, you've been treated on the outside for it, then you need to tell them that and ask for geriatrics. And they try to get you into there. Now, to me, that's the best thing that ever happened to me because they pay a lot closer attention. Um, and
Hmm.
when they send you to one of those other clinics respond a lot quicker in trying to get you rushed in
Hmm.
versus someone who's not in geriatrics. So it's kind of like
Hmm.
a bonus that they have that set up
Right.
that they do for you. You know, I've been in geriatrics now 2 years, and they contact me and
Hmm.
say, "We noticed you got this. Do you need this?" I got to answer an email later after we get off the show tonight. They want to know. They
Ah.
sent me a device that's supposed to help with my knees and my lower back, a little pulsing device. They want my first prescription is up, and they want to know how I'm doing and whether or not to refill it. I understand this machine's quite
Hmm.
expensive, over $1,200 if they bought it. And I think you have to use it for
Right.
6 months and then they pay for it, and you get to keep it for a long time. But I've got to do that tonight. That's a plus for pain management that you have a little better with in geriatrics than what I got when I was under a normal primary care doctor.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's good. That's really good. I mean, it's my primaries have been good to me. Well, let me take that back. I've had a couple of primaries. 'Cause people change, they come and go. Doctors come and go. It's a job to them, and they can be at the VA for a couple of years, and decide to go into private practice. They go ahead and go. I've had a couple of good primary care docs just taking care of them pretty well. Both of them's gotten disabled and sick and had to retire. I had one that went to DC, and I think she got cancer and passed away. Um, I had one that left. Kind of really didn't. I mean, they were just there. You ever seen people who are just there and not really. And so I've had one or two that really, cared about what my issues were, and which is pretty cool. And but they're very important that you make you have a good relationship with your primary care doctor. Build up a good rapport with them. Um, they've only got a certain amount of time to see you for your appointments, and just be straightforward with them and tell them, what's wrong with you and things like that, and try to make their job easier. And if you're married, take your spouse with you, let them go with you, let them get to know their spouse a little bit, especially on the caregiver program, and let them get to know
Yeah,
the
that's a
spouse
plus.
because your spouse basically, and yeah, especially if your spouse, if you're in a caregiver program, especially a paid caregiver program, your spouse has to communicate with your care team monthly. Is that what it is, Rick?
Well, right now
And
it's got
so that'll be one
quarterly.
avenue.
Yeah, quarterly, and then
Okay.
once a year they have to do an in-house visit, and twice a year you do a telephone conference.
Okay. So, yeah, that's what you got to look at too. But hey, your primary care doctor opens up doors for you. Um, and you can do what you want to do. But just make sure that, you're, oh, Important note, um, for you vets out there that's got claims in the process and you want to come to the VA, you got a claim in the system, say you got denied and you want to use a VA, you're able to use a VA. The regional offices, the people that do the claims, are under what we call the VBA, the Veterans Benefits Administration. Your health and your hospitals are under the VHA, the Veterans Health Administration. Okay. That's two different vehicles. Okay.
And the two should never meet or
One,
talk.
that's right, they should never meet or talk. One is a truck on the left side and the other one's a bus on the right side. Okay. If you're having problems with one, and most likely the VBA, which most veterans are, okay, you got to realize the issue you're having is with them and not the VHA. I've seen a lot of vets walk into the VHA, to the hospitals with an attitude because of a claim to VBA. Okay. And they're mad. Well, VA did this, VA did that. No, the VA didn't do this and VA didn't do that. The regional office did this and did that. These people here have no idea. They're here to help you do your health care. And I've actually said a few things, to vets about that over the history. That's a pretty long history, baby. We're getting old.
Yeah.
So don't let anger to the VBA affect the VHA. They're there to help you. And, they're some of the best people in the world, actually. And
And
I'm
another
sure you've seen it
thing
too,
that you
Ray.
were talking about a minute ago that I liked
Mm-hmm.
when you're talking about and telling about your experience with your primary care. If you have a personality conflict with the primary care doctor, uh, you don't think they're doing their job, you don't have to say it that way. But if you just write a letter said, I'd like to change my primary care, it seems like we have a personality conflict, they will change your primary care. I haven't had to do that,
Mm-hmm.
but I have known others that definitely have. And so, that being said, know that
Mm-hmm.
you can do that. It is an avenue. It's not easy, and it may take a while because there may not be any openings with some of the other primary care. But if you
Yeah,
want to communicate,
do you send the letter to the patient advocate?
you
You send the
can.
letter to the patient advocate. Is that who it goes to?
What I did, what I recommended someone else to do was to write the letter and turn it in to the primary care doctor because she has to approve it. I mean, the case I'm talking about,
Mm-hmm.
she had to approve it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also had the guy to take a copy of the letter down to the patient advocate. Now, what that did, that meant that that doctor had to sit down on the phone or whatever, at least for a few minutes, with a patient advocate and discuss your situation. And those patient advocates are pretty good. They can tell if that doctor has, there's some people that you just rub you the wrong way. And, you may be the one
Yeah,
that rubs the doctor the
but
wrong way.
button heads.
Yeah. So,
All right.
if you have that type
Okay.
of situation, there is a solution, and that's what it is. That's a good point to go
Mm-hmm.
to the patient advocate. But what I recommended him do is first turn it in to the primary care and wait 24 hours and then
Mm-hmm.
give it to the patient advocate for two reasons.
Yeah.
Number one, it meant that the doctor at least had the opportunity of 24-hour notice before the patient advocate's calling him.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, it
Right.
makes it clear to everybody involved that there's a situation there and gives the patient
Right.
advocate a little more time to investigate. And what you may or may not know, this may not be the first time that doctor's had a problem. He may have five or six or eight or 10 times that people have asked. So you may not be the first
Yeah. Could be
person.
a pattern.
Yeah. So that's
Could be a
another
pattern.
situation that the
Mm-hmm.
patient advocate, seeing that, may recognize it and may go ahead and and get that changed for you. And that's something you're not going to be able to
Hmm.
find out.
That's a fact. That's factual. That's true. So basically, if you don't like your doc or you don't get along with your doc, you can ask to change it. And you don't have to send it. All you got to do is go on to you can go onto the message center there and you can send a message. You can actually upload that letter on the computer directly to your care group and the patient advocate. They can pull it right off. Save you
Okay,
the
well, you
cost
can
of the
do it.
stamp, which is
Yeah,
about the
if you're
cost
doing
of,
it that way, you can actually copy them both in at the same time or send it to both at the same time. Uh,
yeah,
like I
that's
said,
what I
I
do because,
prefer
you know,
just, I think it's just good business to give that doctor an opportunity to at least be aware of what's coming.
well, with the cost of the
Don't get
stamp, yeah,
blindsided.
with the cost of the stamp nowadays, it'd be cheaper to drive the letter over there and back. No, we update everything. Now, okay, say you go to a secondary or, specialty care. Okay, that's your specialty care physician, it's your heart doctors, and that's your um podiatrists and people like that. Um, that's where your care really starts because, they're the ones that, okay, you go to podiatrist and you got diabetes and you got a foot score, they give you a pod risk score on your feet and it's like 2 or 3 or whatever. Then they say, well, you need shoes. So here's your prescriptions for shoes. That's how you get your shoes, your socks, your compression socks or whatever you need. And they take care of you that way. As far as other things like, it can be services. It can, don't have to be health care. Say, for example, you need certain things around the house to help you because, you can't hang on to nothing or you wobble, you stumble. They can make an appointment with occupational therapy and they can read the notes and things like that. And they'll sit you down in occupational therapy and try to help you as to what, you need. They can give you rollers, canes, aids to take a shower chairs, anything like that to help you with. Okay. Um, they can send you to physical therapy, if you've got issues like knees or backs or whatever, and they help you that way, schedule you a session and make you feel better and, maybe get you walking right again. Uh, they can send you to um, different things. I mean, it's wide open. You can they can send you to prosthetics, say you needed a blood pressure cup, things like that. Usually mine just brings one to me and gives it to me. Um, then um, there's also certain ways, like, for example, let's say you're wheelchair bound, but say you have mobility issues because it has to be because of a service net condition. That's the bigger thing. They can write you a note to prosthetics and they can refer you to the HISA grant to have some stuff done to your house, like a shower and things like that. If you say you trip and fall a lot or your diabetes or whatever, then they can pay up to like $6,900 to have a shower conversion done. They can make it easier, make your doors wider and things like that in the house, up to that amount of money. And which all veterans qualify for as long as as long as they're service next for what they need to be done. Or it's basically to make you safer inside the house. I've used it. I'm sure Ray used it. You use it too, haven't you? The HISA
Yeah,
grant.
I had them to put a roll-in shower because I was using a walker at the time,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that I'd be going to the wheelchair,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, they came in and remodeled my shower. They widened the door. I had a 28-inch door. They widened it to 32
Mm-hmm.
inch. They did my shower all tile,
Mm-hmm.
and they redid the floor. They put me in a handicapped sink and a handicapped toilet.
Yep. Yep. That's what. And rails. I put rails up on mine to help get up. Yeah, pretty
Yeah, I
good.
got. Let's see,
If you need a rail.
I got four rails.
Mm,
Yeah, and I
yep.
have a a ticketed
And
seat that pulls up against the wall, and then when I go in, I lower it down and
in the
I
shower.
sit there in the shower.
Hmm.
But if someone else wants to use my shower, they don't have to sit down; they can use it standing.
We use a chair. I mean, we thought about that when we had ours put in, and they look nice.
They
They
do.
do look
They're
nice
very
because I like
heavy
it
and
teak
very
wood.
comfortable.
Hmm. See, I mean, it's all good. I mean, they've got a lot of good things like it, as long as the system works. I mean, yeah, with any big government system, yeah, you're going to have some issues. You're going to have some cracks in the floor. You're going to have a lot of red tape. You're going to have all kind of things like that. And you're going to have hoops to jump through. If you go to Walmart and see all this stuff, you see the cracks and the hoops and things like that. If they're short, they have got them all. So, as long as you navigate it and keep in contact with the primary care team, that they've assigned you to, you'll be okay. That's open to refer you to mental health. Say if you've got PTSD issues, they can refer you there and you can be treated for that thing, that stuff. Um, which is not bad. I mean, you have to agree to the treatment and things like that, which is, you always want to try to keep that under control because, mental health is a big problem in this country right now. It is a bad problem. All you got to do is watch the news and you can say, what in the world is going on here? I mean, it's sad, but we're not going to politicize this radio show by any means or this podcast or this video show. So we're going to keep on going, right?
Yeah.
Anyhow, they can refer you to mental health, uh, any service that they offers.
Well,
They can refer you to dental if, go ahead, Ray.
another good part
Go
about
ahead.
that mental health that they do that I think is very important for a couple of guys that I've known. Um, they had PTSD real
Hmm.
bad. They came back from over Iraq, Afghanistan, and they had bad case of PTSD.
Yeah.
Now, because of their PTSD, military connected, and they were 100%. And I don't know if you got to be 100 or 70 or if there's even a number. But they included the
Hmm.
wife in a lot of the meetings and training for that veteran's PTSD
Hmm.
procedures. Now, there's a lot of folks that
Yes.
don't do that, I mean, but even though your wife doesn't
Hmm.
isn't a veteran and doesn't do that or a part of it, the fact that she's your spouse and your caregiver, even if you're not in the caregiver program, she's considered your caregiver. Then they will include her in
Hmm.
for a few things that may help her deal with you and help by doing that, that helps you.
Hmm.
So they actually have some classes
Hmm.
and some online clinics and things that they do from time
Hmm.
to time.
Hmm.
I've never watched
Hmm.
any of them. I've never been in any of them, but the fact that they're just putting them out there, making them available, to me is a positive sign.
Well, they need it. It's a needed. It's a necessary situation as far as that goes. Um, you guys, if you're married and you're doing this and you've got PTSD and you're married, make sure your wife is a part of your treatment and help you because your wife's going to be the person to help you. She's the one that spends the most time with you and she can do it. And, you got to appreciate what she does. Uh, there's nothing better than a military wife, guys. I mean, especially Navy wives. Daddy, hubby gets on the boat and goes gone to sea for 6 months, and the wife's running the whole. She does it all. She's mommy and daddy, and she's the chef and she's the everything. And so, and there's some way to pay her back. It'd be amazing because just the sacrifices they make is unbelievable. And then the vet gets out and gets boogered up, and she's taking care of him again, so she's still sacrificing, right?
Yeah, and
So,
it's interesting
maybe we can get her
today. I looked up.
a little.
I forget what the reasoning was. The last Friday, I was looking some things up, and I looked up divorce rates. Uh, today's divorce rates for people who have been married between up to the first 25 years. and I was amazed that the
Hmm.
divorce rate today is 51%. In other words, 25% of the people that get married or within the first 25 years of marriage, 51% of them get a divorce. And then when I looked up a
Hmm.
little further, uh, the divorce rate for veterans who had been on active duty in a war zone with PTSD is 78%.
That's the PTSD speaking.
Yep. Because it's
I'll
hard to
tell you a
get
true story.
PTSD. I mean, you and I both have heard
Hmm. I'll tell
stories
you a true
about how
story.
something will happen and the guy has a dream and he, you know, jumps on top of his wife and
Hmm.
starts hitting her or kicks her out of bed or pushes her out of bed
Oh
and
yeah, that's
planes
them.
incoming and
Them.
he falls out the other side and it's an ongoing thing. It doesn't go
It's a
away.
realistic nightmare. That happens. That does happen. It does happen. A guy I used to work with, I worked for the Department of the Army after I got out of service, and this guy hired him about the same time I did. And he was in Germany in the Army. He was a sergeant, super nice guy. I'm not going to say any names though, but he was married to live in an apartment somewhere near an Army base. I forget where it was at, but he decided he was going to come home and surprise his wife. He'd been gone for about a year, and so he snuck in one afternoon, got out and was on his way, walked up to his apartment, took out his key and opened the door, and his wife and a guy was sitting on the couch. And he noticed the guy was wearing his clothes. A true story. And he asked him what was going on, and they had some words and a couple of issues and things like that, And the guy had moved into his apartment, taking his place, wearing his clothes and driving his vehicle. It wasn't pretty. So that was one of the divorces there, Ray.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or things
Yeah,
like
it's
that
pretty
happen.
sad. Hmm. So it's of course, you run across it in all walks of life. Anytime you put this many people together, from all walks, something's got to give. There's going to be some. There's going to be a few bad eggs in it. It's like one potato. If you got a bad potato in the bag, the whole bag's going to be bad if you don't get rid of the one potato.
Yeah.
It'll burn all of them up. But you navigate that situation. You got your specialty care. You got this and this and that. Yeah, the VA does offer dental care to veterans that have a dental service connection with a dental issue. Like, say, um, you said the wrong thing and uh, this big 6 foot 10 inch bosses make bust you in the mouth and knocks half your teeth out, or you have an injury. Say you break your jaw or something like that, or you bust up your teeth in the way there's something hits you, and they'll take care of that they'll take care of that in dental. Or if you are 100% permanent total disability rating, or adjudicated to be unemployable under the TDIU restraints of the Title 38 Part 4, which means you can be 70 percent or whatever percent. I think it's a one certain disability uh, or a combination disability that one is that keeps you from being unemployed, and they pay it to 100% rates. You can also get dental. If you're in special programs, you can get dental. If you're in VRE going to school, you can get dental and things like that. Veterans Rehabilitation Employment, and that's another referral you can get to the RNE. Um, they can do that. They can uh, a lot of things. They can set you up an education program. Say you want to do something different. You want to be beneficial. Let's find you a position that is accommodating to your disabilities. You can go through that program. They'll either give you an education or train you for a job that you can do.
They'll help you
If you're
find a
100%
job
permanent
too.
total and you try to do VR in hmm?
They'll help
Say
you
again, Ray?
find a job too. They have a job placement program a part of
Yeah,
it.
they help you find a job. Yep, they do. And also, if you're 100% and you're permanent total, they've got a program that's aligned with VRNE, but it's called independent living. And what that does is they'll come in and they'll modify and they'll do some checks on you and see what you need in order to function well at home or in the community. It used to be a lot better than what it is now, you know. I don't think to give away $500,000 greenhouses no more, Ray,
or bass boats. I've
or
heard of guys building
campers,
bass boats.
bass boats or campers, yeah. Yeah. So, but they do. I mean, they make your life independent, you know, help you live and things like that. They
Well,
will get you a
what
computer and things like that if you like
what
doing
was
stuff
what it was
online.
before you became disabled.
Hmm.
And let me give you an example. I've got two
Yep.
things. One we're
Independent.
talking on right now. They came in. They knew that I was doing this show. They knew also I had a local radio show, and I had to look a lot of stuff on the
Hmm.
computer. They also, because of their knowledge and research, knew that I had a vision problem in my left eye from diabetes, and I have a 22,000 rating in my left eye. So they walked in and they looked at my little laptop and they looked over and they said, "You need a big screen." I said, "Okay." So they gave me a big screen monitor. Uh, then they
Hmm.
walked back into my bedroom and they said, "Your doctor said because of your sleep apnea, you need to sleep with your head half tilted up." I said, "Yeah."
Hmm.
I said, "You don't have a tilt bed." "No." "Would you like one?" Yeah. So they bought me a tilt bed and mattress. Then they walked down into my man cave and we're sitting down once again, this is where they had, uh, the housing grant had actually built me a vertical platform lift and it converted my garage into a large den. And we're sitting there and I got a picture that I made years ago of a bald eagle on the wall. And the lady looked at the
Hmm.
eagle. She said, "I bet you can't get anywhere near making that picture again, can you?" I said, "No." And she said, "Would a telephoto lens help?" Yeah, it'd help a lot. She says, "Well, pick out one and keep it around the $2,000 range." Well, I'm telling you guys, that was on a Tuesday. I told her what I needed on Thursday, and on Monday it was delivered. Can't beat it. And I've used it hundreds of times. It's
Hmm.
really allowed me to still continue photography, shooting elk and shooting buffalo and things that I wouldn't be able to really get close enough safely being in a wheelchair without a telephone.
Hmm.
So that's what they want to try to
That's that
do.
Cage Cold camera.
Yeah. So that's one of the things they try to do. So
Mm-hmm.
VRNE, you got to work with them. You got to be patient.
Hmm.
They called me one day in my primary. This is back to our primary care. They had contacted my primary care about something. I don't not sure what. But in the conversation, my medication came up and the type of medication I was on, which one has to be refrigerated. And I had told them that I
Hmm.
like to travel and would travel a lot. So she called me and asked me about how we traveled. I said, "Well, we freeze ice packs and then we try to stay at a place that's got a freezer every night and refreeze them and whatever." She said,
Yeah.
"Would a refrigerator in your van help?" "Well, yeah." "Well, why don't you go over to a truck stop and see if you can find one that plugs into a regular car cigarette lighter or whatever so that you can keep your medication because that medication you own costs the VA $1,000 a week." I said, "Okay."
Mhm.
Went over, did it, paid for it, could sent the receipt in. It was basically less than $250 and they reimbursed me.
Hmm.
But that was something that they found and
Hmm.
they did without me asking. They were looking for
Hmm.
things to make my life more comfortable. And I think if you have a good attitude,
That mhm. That is all up to the thoroughness of the person that does that interview. Unfortunately, mine was during COVID, and my interview was done by phone. And I didn't have quite the success that Ray had during his. But one good thing is, I think you can do it again, right, Ray?
That's correct. Anytime your condition
So
changes
I'm
or
thinking,
worsens, or you figure out that you need something
hmm
else, yes, you can go back and ask for it again. Um, and once they
I'm going to
open
go
that
back after the
file
tilt
open,
bed and things like
uh,
that.
they keep that file open for 2 years, and they're constantly checking with
hmm
you to see how what they got you is it working? Is there anything else you need? Uh,
hmm
quite,
I
they
want to
even
reapply myself.
um, I think it was I forget which one of my doctors had put in my medical record that it would be helpful if I had a lift chair. Well, the VA
Yes.
medical does not give lift chairs, but VRNA
hmm
does. So when she saw that
Well,
in my medical records, she said, "Would you like a lift chair?" Well, yeah. So they got me a lift chair that has a
hmm
heater in it. It's got a massage, two massage type of massages, a wave and a pulse, and it lifts me almost straight up, so I don't have to bend my knees or hurt my lower back. And it has definitely helped my being able to get around better. I mean, I still don't get around that great, but I'd hate to
hmm
think of what it was if I had to try to maneuver and pull myself up out of a chair.
pull yourself up.
I would probably be on the floor half the time.
That's something else. Well, that's my issue. I get orthostatic a lot, things like that. You know, if I get up too fast, it's like timber, because I mean, it gets pretty ugly. Blood pressure drops like that and things. So I might have to investigate that, Ray. See, you're teaching me something now, and I'm serious.
Well,
But
yeah, I mean, I
yeah,
think
that's a
that
very
chair was like
important.
$2,300. It wasn't cheap.
hmm
They didn't
Well,
cut corners. You know, they told me where I
hmm
could go to look and pick one out. I mean, I got to,
hmm hmm All right. Well, that's amazing. Really good. I mean, that's something I mean, you got to realize to be able to do this for you. And, um, I mean, nobody else will. I mean, if Social Security's not going to do it, you might have to fight. You might get a scooter out of them or something like that, or maybe a pair of diabetic shoes that might, give you one pair and tell you to hop on one foot and tell you to hop on the next foot, for the next couple of days. And if you go to a podiatry and you got foot issues, then they can give you shoes too, two pair a year. Socks. If you got vascular problems like varicose veins or peripheral vascular disease, they give you compression socks. Uh, they'll fix your feet, trim your toenails, do whatever it takes. You know, their podiatrists are pretty good. I like them, and and across the board, even with Ray, that's pretty good. Ray's got one that's really good, and he's an excellent podiatrist. I've heard nothing but rave reviews about this person. He's helped more veterans in Tennessee that I know that, to get to a higher level with their feet, especially with diabetes. And that's something else I can refer you to. You can go to diabetes clinic and go nutrition. They teach you how to cook, what to eat, and things like that. I've been through several classes, um, uh, a lot of things like that. And but again, your primary care is the one that. Good, right? Yeah, yep. It's not advertised. Hmm. Hmm. Well, that is the vocational rehab part of the R&E. Okay. The stuff Ray and I are talking about with the stuff inside the house, with the beds and things like that, that's part of independent living. I want to make sure you live as comfortable as possible because you don't go out and go to work. You can't. Your disabilities keep you from doing it. And they'll tell you that right now that, well, you can't do this, but you have, they'll slide you into independent living and they'll do their evaluation. And that's a very long phone call or a very long visit because they're very thorough. That one gal was, anyways. I think we had the same person, Ray. That country girl was real country as corn. You remember her? Yeah. So, but other than that, yeah. Well, this is the last show we're doing in, I don't know, man. You awful close. You trip and fall, you'll be close to Huntsville. You live, you live close enough where a tree fall and it lands in Alabama. I had another buddy. He used to live right there, and you know where Killen, Alabama is, just north of Florence. Killen, Alabama. Colleen Killen. He used to live there. He used to come up to Lexington, Tennessee all the time. He was a fisherman. He'd go up there and he'd get his boats and stuff like that in Lexington, and they'd go out and fish. He was a bad PTSD vet. Of course, you get that when plane crashed on top of you on an aircraft carrier, right? That's what happened to him. But next week is the first show of October, and of course, that's the first week. Miss Spangenberg will be on, and she'll be doing the. I don't know really what our topic's going to be yet. We'll advertise it when we get the information together. But she'll be going over something medical for sure. And she does the regulations of beds. And Bethany's an accredited appeals agent, and she's a physician's assistant. She owns the company Voucher Vet. She's been doing it for years, so uh, she has a lot writing on this. She does a lot of educational stuff for the vets, helps them a lot, and we look forward to that show. I mean, she's been doing this for a while, and you can watch all of them on here. Ray does a radio show on Tuesdays on WZYX. Is that what it is? All right. It's Cowan, Tennessee. You can go on the website. What's the website, Ray, for the ZYX? Okay, go on there. This is Tuesday mornings. It's at 9 a.m. Central Time, so that's 10 o'clock Eastern, um, 8 o'clock Mountain, 7 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock California time, right? Yep. So he always has good guests on the show. Very, right. Mm-hmm. Well, you have to do that. I mean, there comes a time when everybody really needs to do that, because I mean, you want to make it as easier on, the people, that you love as possible. The less burden you put on them, the better off everybody is in this situation. I mean, face it, guys, I mean, I hate to say this, but mm, this is only temporary. Life's only temporary. You know, life is only temporary, and, it's the longevity parts after that. So, we'll see. But, get a lot of good points. Hmm. 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 15 years. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. That happens. I mean, we call it hit and run. It's like a hit and run. Uh, I don't, um, right now we're talking about meeting up in Ashton City, Tennessee here in a couple of weeks and maybe doing one of his broadcasts from there here and um, kind of a meeting with Mr. Cripps and United States U.S. Veterans Alliance. That's what it is, right? That's James's group. And yeah, so but we'll get more of that discussed here in the next week or so. But guys, I think that's all we got, Ray. Man, we do appreciate you co-hosting. You've been a big help, breath of fresh air, as always. And okay. And I want to thank our producer today. She's in here helping out. Done a very good job. Have to give her a pay raise now if I can afford it. And with that, this will be John. Yeah, this will be John Stacy, aka Jay Basser, on behalf of Mr. Ray Cobb. Jay Basser's Exposed That Productions live on YouTube right now, but it'll be posted to YouTube soon later this evening for the whole audience, the world to watch it again. They're all there. And with that, we'll be shutting her down for now. We'll see you next week, folks.